welcome to Mystery Island, Maranatha 2020. My name's Soleil. This is
Sam.
This is
Solomon and Sophie.
Today we're going to be singing Mystery Island.
An island is a special place, full of wonders to explore. Beauty and discovery wait for us on every shore. Come along, come along, come along, explore with me. Mighty wonders, mighty wonders, mighty wonders we will see. I want to look into the mystery of our God above, exploring Mystery Island. God of all the universe, loving Father we adore, gives to us His holy word, all His wonders to explore. Come along, come along, come along, explore with me. Mighty wonders, mighty wonders, mighty wonders we will see. I want to look into the mystery of our God above, exploring Mystery Island. Exploring Mystery Island.
Ahoy, kids!
Welcome to VBS 2020 Maranatha Baptist Church. This week we are going to be tracking down the one true God. My name is Sophie.
My name's Soleil, and today we'll be saying our theme verse for the week.
Psalms 145:1. I will extol thee, my God, O King, and I will bless thy name forever and ever.
Now we're going to sing the wordless book.
My heart was marred with sin until the Savior came in. His precious blood, I know, will wash me whiter than snow. And in God's word I'm told, I'll walk the streets of gold. I'll read my Bible and pray, and grow in it every day.
Be happy all the time.
So this one we're going to have some movement. So when we say in right, we're going to jump forward. On right, out right, we're going to say jump backwards. Can we do it?
And then upright, we're going to jump, and down right, we're going to duck. So we're going to go slow. We're going to start slow. Ready, guys?
I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. Since Jesus Christ came in and cleansed my heart with sin, I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time.
Now we're going to go a little bit faster. Let's see if you can keep up.
I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. Since Jesus Christ came in and cleansed my heart from sin, I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time.
All right, let's go a little faster now.
A little faster.
Ready? I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time. Since Jesus Christ came in and cleansed my heart from sin, I'm in right, out right, up right, down right, happy all the time.
Hello everybody, welcome to Maranatha Baptist Church Missionary Story. I am so glad that you've decided to take the time to listen to the story and to actually even just be a part of Vacation Bible School. You're going to have a great week this week, so please try your best to be faithful. Keep on doing your lessons, and above all, pray and trust God to help you grow. I want to introduce you to our story. Our story for this year is Amy Carmichael. Amy Carmichael was a missionary to India. Now, as most of you know, a missionary is someone that goes and tells others about Jesus. And we want to be sure to always play that part in our lives. Act it out. We want to tell others about Jesus in whatever way we can. But for you and for me both, we need to make sure that in everything that we do, even when we are not talking, that we are telling others about Jesus. And that means doing what is right, doing what we know God calls us to do. In our story this week, Amy Carmichael wanted to do exactly that, was to do what God called her to do. So we want to start off by giving you a little bit of information about who Amy was. Amy was born in 1867. That's over 100 years ago. She was born in Northern Ireland, so she was Irish, and she lived close to the ocean. And there was a lot of different colors in the area where she lived, but Amy's favorite color was blue, and she especially loved the fact that her mama had beautiful blue eyes, and she wanted to have beautiful blue eyes like her mom, but they were not blue. Hers were brown. But all through her life, even though she was really young, Amy had heard her mom and her dad tell her that God answered prayer. And so one of the things that Amy, of course, was wanting was the blue eyes, and she decided she was going to get on her knees one night and ask for God to give her blue eyes. So that evening, of course, let me mention something to you. Amy was 3 years old, and she knew, she totally believed that if she prayed, God was going to answer her prayer, because mom and dad always told her, God answers all prayers all the time. He does answer them. And so she gets on her knees and she prays for blue eyes. And when she went to bed, she was sure that when she woke up, she was going to have blue eyes. Well, she falls asleep that night, and in the morning, she jumps out of bed, runs over to her mirror, and guess what? She had brown eyes. God didn't hear me, she thinks. Maybe he wasn't listening. Oh, why is it that I still have brown eyes? Oh, but everybody tells me God answers prayer, she kept thinking. And then God helped her. Even at that young age, he helped her to understand something very important that she was going to remember for the rest of her life. God reminded her that there was times when she would ask mom and dad for things, and mom and dad both said, guess what? No. And that was okay. There was always a good reason why they said no. And even though she was only 3 years old, Amy realized he said no. God said no, but he did answer her prayer. Now, the fabulous thing is that as Amy gets older, she's going to realize what important plan God had for her life and why he said no when she asked for blue eyes. So when we see that Amy is sad about those brown eyes, we think, well, did God answer? But the question, of course, is answered by saying, yes, he did answer. Now, when Amy gets a little older, Amy becomes a missionary to India. And when she goes to India, she, of course, wants to be able to learn the language, and she wants to know what it is that the people do throughout their daily lives. One of those things is that they go to a temple to worship. Now, when the people go into the temple to worship, they have what is called idols. Now, idols are made out of stone or wood or anything like that, but the people are the ones that make those. And they worship those like if they were gods, and they're not gods. Now, Amy wanted to tell the people about the one true God, like what you and I are learning about this week. God is the one true God. We know that he actually hears us. We know that he sees us. We know that he loves us. And this was what Amy wanted to share with the people from India, especially the children. But the only way she could do that was if she could learn about how they lived their lives so she could explain in a way that they would understand. And she needed to go to a temple. She wanted to be able to go into the temple where she could be able to observe what they did while they were in the temple, how it was that they behaved. And perhaps that would help her to be able to tell them about Jesus and tell them about the one true God that could see them, that could hear them, and that especially would answer their prayers. Now, she wanted to, of course, let them know that they could trust God, that God was the one true God that could be trusted and that would love them. So, Amy had to figure out a way to get into this temple. What was she going to do? And she realized that God was giving her a plan. She got a wonderful idea. And what was that idea? She could disguise herself. Got a little covering, just like the women from India. She dressed like them. And she also learned that if she got coffee and smeared it on her skin, it looked brown. So she was able to look like the Indian women. And you know what her missionary friends actually said to her? Amy, they said, it's a good thing you have brown eyes, because if you had had blue or green eyes, there's no way they would have let you into that temple. Isn't that wonderful? God had a plan for Amy's life even before she knew that she would end up in India, where she would need brown eyes to disguise herself to be able to get in where she needed to be. God has a plan for your life too, and we need to trust Him. We need to know that He is going to do what's best for us all the time. He knows us, He hears us, He sees us. And it's important we never forget that. Amy remembered right then why it was that God had told her no when she asked for blue eyes. That was really awesome. Now that she has her disguise, she gets to go into the temple, and nobody stopped her. She looked like one of the Indian women. So God answered her prayer in being able to get in where she needed to in order to do what she wanted, to work for God, to be able to tell them about Jesus. On one of those trips to the temple, when she comes out, she sees a cart. And in this cart, there was a big statue. And surrounding the statue were 10 little girls with little white flowers in their hair. And some of them were crying, and some of them you could tell were really, really scared. And they were carting them away, and they were heading down the street. And the little girls were only about 4 to 10 years old. They were young. And you could tell they were scared. And Amy started following the crowd that was following the cart. And she sees the fear in these little girls' little faces. And as they start heading down the road, she sees that they're going to a temple. And when they get nearby, they start to open the doors. And she realizes, these little girls, they're prisoners. They've been taken away from their parents. What are they going to do with them? They're in this place where they've never been before. They're in this place with strangers. And if you listen tomorrow night, you'll find out what happens to these little girls.